Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be building something really cool. So we're going to be building this amazing creative website or a landing page for a company, or basically a clothing brand known as Moncler. Now the design for this is not mine. I picked it up from Dribble. So the link to the design is down in the description. So make sure to check that out, and we'll be showing you the design in a bit. So as you can see, when you scroll, you can basically see the different clothings appear and they kind of fade in. We have some text on the left, text on the right with pricing. You can click, and now even though these functionalities are not added, you can add them. And then we have a mini slider here, which on click basically takes us to the main slide. Now this is really neat. This would help you, you know, get better with your CSS designs. Would obviously help you learn how to use Swiper.js and how to add custom animations to Swiper.js using GSAP. So we're going to be learning quite a stuff in this video. So if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn the notification bell. The source code of this project is down in the description, and also the link to the deployed site is also in the description, so you guys can check that out as well. And yeah, make sure to comment down what you liked about this video. And yeah, without any delay, let's get started and let's learn how to build this. So before starting with the code, I just wanted to show you something. So the design is picked from here. So the real creator is Dwayne Levi Smith. So really amazing work. Now go check him out, go follow him, and really thanks for the amazing design that you created. And because of your design, I was able to build this. So make sure to check him out. Now there are certain tasks that you would see that can be done. Now the design that I've built is not entirely same as this. So you would see that we have here some circular border dots kind of. Now these basically kind of indicate which slide you're in. So the second one here is active, meaning that the second slide, so this is basically the second slide. Now here I've added the swiper pagination, but I've not converted or created those circular dots. So make sure to, when you download the source code from the GitHub, you can basically tweak stuff and then also add these circular dots kind of by yourself. And then also you would see that we have some background text which you can manipulate and you can add it, which would make the site look cool. And maybe if you want, you can also kind of animate the text behind. And then you would see that in this code, this is not responsive. So since the video is kind of short, so I can't stretch it too long by making it responsive and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys know how to make stuff responsive. So hoping that you would make this responsive as well. Now I've used pixelated values. Now whenever you're trying to make stuff responsive, it is advisable to use rem units instead of pixels. So if you want, you can follow that, or if you want to use pixels, you can do that. Do whatever, make sure to complete it. And if you do, make sure to tag me on maybe Instagram, and if you know my Twitter, then you can also maybe tag me there as well. Or even if you don't tag me, it's fine. You can use this for your professional or maybe for personal use. So yeah, I just want you guys to basically complete this and then have it as your kind of like a project. So yeah, so there's that. Without any delay, let's start. So you see that I have an empty index.html file, and the CSS, I have a couple of stuff. Now what actually happened was I recorded the video once, but then I realized that I was not recording the screen, which kind of screwed me. So yeah, I'm redoing it again. Now, if you see the folder here, I have the font here linked, and also the image. We have 3 images for 3 different products. All right. And then we have these files, index.html and style.css. Now, to get started with this, we need a couple of tools here. So we'd start off with remix icon. So you can go to the so you can type here CDN JS or CDN remix icon. You can open this link. So if you don't get the latest version, which is 4.3.0, if you don't get that, you can grab this 4.2.0, which I'm using now. So you can copy this, you can paste it here. And then next we need Swiper.js, so you can go to their official website. So this is their official site. You can just type swiper.com, swiper.js.com, or maybe type in Google. And then you can go to this docs, click on this getting started, go down here. Since we're using vanilla JavaScript way, so you can just copy these and then paste it here. So basically the style would be placed here, the minified JavaScript would be placed here. After that is done, we need the animation star of the video, which is GSAP. So you're going to come over here. You can search for CDN.js GSAP or directly come over to this URL. You can grab this link and then just paste it here. And yeah, that's all that we need. Now, if you look at the finished design, so this is the design. So we have the nav bar here, which basically is kind of inside of the slider. If you look at the design, the navigation is kind of fixed. So when you scroll, we don't see the nav moving. So basically it is at the same place. The only thing that animates or moves is the slider. So we can add the nav inside of the swiper if you want. And then we can maybe kind of position it as fixed. And then the slide that we have a H2, we have some text on the left, some text on the right with another heading here for the price. And then we have two buttons inside, kind of like a button block. And then we have here another slider, which we can use as a thumbnail, which on click takes us to that specific main slide. And then we have some text here to scroll down, and then the social media links. So let's get started. So here, so for the basic Swiper template, you can come here to the resources, go to the demos. Now, since we're using core JavaScript, you can click here, which will open this file, this one. Yeah. It's taking some time. All right. So we don't have anything specific. We just have the swiper class with a specific class, in this case, MySwiper. And then we have the swiper wrapper within which we have each individual slides as swiper slide. And then we're initializing the Swiper JS using the class MySwiper here. You can obviously use this swiper class to initialize instead of adding another class here. So we start off with the swiper div. Inside of that, we add the navigation as explained. We have the anchor tag, so we have men, and then the first, you'd see that this is active since we have this underline here. So we can add a class of active. And then we have women, customize. Then we have search, which has the search icon from remix icon. And then we have my account and then the shopping bag icon. Let's save. This is how it looks. Now, once we have the CSS added, we'd have this search. Basically, from this portion, we would have this the nav kind of pushed towards the right. So to do that, we'd basically add here style margin left auto. Now, if I add now, this won't do anything since we don't have a width specified for the nav bar now. So that won't take into effect. And also, we need to specify some other stuff as well. So for the nav bar, as of now, it's good. Let's move forward to the swiper wrapper. And the swiper wrapper has the swiper slide. Now, each swiper slide here, you would see that we have different backgrounds. So the first one has orange to kind of black, and the second one has blue to black, and then the third one has kind of like pink to purple. So instead of adding 3 specific classes and then adding different linear backgrounds to them, we can just add the style attribute here, set the background, we can set the linear gradient to bottom, and then specify the 2 colors. In this case, for the first slide, we have orange to kind of a black shade. And then we have the H2. For this, we have the left and the right section. So we're going to be not calling them left and right. We'd be calling them info and then the pricing. The info has some text. So we have paragraph, spans, paragraph, and another span. And the pricing, we have paragraph, span, and then a heading for the pricing. And then we have a BTN block. Basically, it has two buttons. One is the light BTN with a light BTN class, and then the second one is a dark one, so we just call it BTN. And let's save. So this is how the first slide looks. And then we have the main image. So basically, the main image that we have for the slide, we're going to be just calling it main image. And that's all for the slide. We're going to be pasting in the other two slides as well. Let's paste them. The only thing that is different here, the image for the two different slides. So for the second one, we have the second image. For the third, we have the third. And then we specify here different colors. So the second one has a blue to black. Third has pink to purple. Let's save and let's see. So this is how it looks. Now, we'd see that we only have the first slide. The second and third is not visible. The reason for that is because we have yet to add CSS, and also we have yet to initialize our Swiper JS. So yeah, after that is done, you would see it working. Then we'd target or we'd add the Swiper pagination, which is for you guys. So you guys can take it as a task. You can complete it, add these dots here, and kind of make them work. Whichever dot is active, you can show it as active. You can style them, add them look like this. You can add the background as well, which is not the pagination, but you get the idea. Then we target the thumbs. We add Swiper wrapper. We add Swiper slice for the thumbnails. So we're going to be calling it Swiper thumbs. And then the same way we have added the main Swiper slider here, we can just add same way we can add the Swiper wrapper. We have the Swiper slide. And then we add the image. So the first one has this one, the second one has two, and the third one has third image. And then for the first one, the background is white, the second one is blue, and the third one is white again. Let's save. We don't see anything. And then we see the second slider, which is the Swiper thumbs. After that is done, we have the scroll text with the scroll class, and then the arrow down from remix icon, and the social div with social media icons for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's all for the HTML that we have. That's it, I guess. Now we initialize it using the script tag here. So to initialize, what you can do is you can come over here. If you look at it, so this one is empty. We don't have anything specific, since if you scroll, you see that after reaching the 9th slide, we don't go back to 1. So we have some specific stuff that we want for our swiper, so we can customize it. So we initialize the swiper with the swiper div, with the swiper class that we had. And then we want the loop to true. Basically, when it hits this 9th slide, it doesn't start from slide 1. Here you will see that when we are at the 3rd slide, I scroll and I reach the first slide again. So basically we want the loop to be true. We don't want any spacing between the slides. The mouse wheel needs to be true, since you can control it via your mouse. You can do scroll up to go to the previous one, scroll down to go to the next one. And then the speed is basically the transition speed that you want while your slides move from one to another. And then we have the effect of cover flow with direction to vertical. And initially the direction is horizontal. We set it as vertical. And then this effect that you see is the cover flow effect. We specify the effect as cover flow. And then here we add some of the stuff that we need to add for cover flow. So you can just copy this data here and can paste it here like this. And then here you see that I've changed the depth to 10 instead of 100. So you can tweak it, you can change the value, and you can play around with that. After that is done, we can add the thumbnail. So basically, whenever we click onto these thumbnails, the main slider knows that I need to move to the second, third, or whatever slide. And the way these two are linked is via this thumbs. So here we specify the slider. So here we have the swiper again, and here we target the element which is swiper thumbs, and then we want to only have 2 slides per view. You'd see that even though we have 3 slides, but we're showcasing here only 2 slides, and the space between would be 0, and that's all. So that's all for the HTML as of now. Now you see that we have some stuff happening here. The reason for that is because we don't have CSS written, so let's add the CSS. The CSS, we start off by adding the nav bar. Nav, we add the width to 80%, display flex, gap 50 pixels, font size 12 pixels, and then position fixed as I've set, as I've said earlier. And then I just add the top and right value. Let's save it. Now the nav is fixed to the top. Then the z index to 10 so that the nav is always above the swiper. Then we target the anchor tags. We change the text decoration to none, set them as display flex, align items to center. Now you might think that they're already centered. Why we're adding this? The reason for that is because we'd increase the size of these icons, and so when we do, they would have kind of a mismatch alignment. So we're adding this beforehand, and then we'd have this gap, and then also the color to white. The active anchor tag, which is the first one, would have the text underline, and then the icons would have a font size of 20 pixels. Let's save. Now, since they have the color of white and the background is also white, we don't see them because they blend in with the background. We target the swiper. We give them width of 100%, height 100%, and then we target the swiper slide. With text align center, we give font size, background to white, display flex, and align items and justify content to center so that everything is at the center. Now you might think that why do we have the background here as white, since we have specified here as the inline style, the background as linear gradient. Because while building this, I kind of copy pasted this from this. So they have the broiler sample CSS, which you can copy paste. So this is what I did, and so I didn't remove this. So if you want, you can remove it. It's totally fine. And then we target the image inside of the swiper slide, the main image. We set the object fit to cover and give it a height of 100%. Let's save and let's see. You see that our slider is working fine. Now let's target the pagination, and we set it as left 10 pixels, right auto. So basically we have positioned the pagination somewhere here. Now they're not visible because, well, you might need to play around with the z-index. You might need to do some stuff. So that's for home takeaway. So basically you do it at home. You see what you can do. Try to do the stuff. Maybe tag me after it is done. And yeah, there's that. So after that is done, we target the H2. We set it as position absolute. We set it at the top left. And then we transform it, rotate it 90 degrees, just like that. Now we need it somewhere here, so we need a transform property, and then with certain values. So these values are kind of played with them. Now you can also tweak it and see which one fits in as your taste. Let's save. So this is what we have. Let's increase the font size and change the font family. Let's save. Looks good. Now we target the pricing, and then we set the font size as 14 pixels. And not just pricing, we also target the info. Let's save. So as you can see, they're kind of at the center. Now there's one thing that I forgot to mention is when you see this, so like before starting this, we have the font face, which basically defines our custom font, in this case P22. Now if you see that, I couldn't actually find the exact font that this guy used. So I've used kind of like a similar one. Well, not similar, but yeah, which at least gets the job done. And I've added the true type, or basically .ttf format for the URL, and have created the custom font family for that. And then we also have the Poppins, which is kind of the default font which works for the text. Now we target the info. we align it on the left side, and then we target the pricing, we align it on the right side. Let's save. Looks good. Now we give the pricing p tag, info p tag, some styling. We do the same for the span as well, and then let's save. So yeah, it's looking good. Now we target the h3, which is the price. We increase the font size. Now we target the btn block. We set the display is flex, margin top to 10 pixels, and then we target the btn, both the buttons. And then we add padding, font family to Poppins, a dark background with alpha value, border none, color to white, and then cursor pointer. Let's save. Now, as you can see, both of the buttons are darker. What we can do is we can target the lighter one and then give it a lighter background. Looks good. Now we target the swiper thumbs. As you can see that we only have the main slider. We don't have the thumbnail slider since that is behind. So we target that. We give it position fixed. And then we set top 65, right 30%, z index to 10 so that it is above the main slider. And then we give it width, overflow to hidden. And then we target the swiper slide, give it a height and cursor pointer. Let's save. As you can see, they are here at the center. Now, when you scroll, they automatically change the active slide. Looks good. Now you can also click on any of these and this would automatically change just like that. Now we're going to target the social and the scroll. We're going to set them position absolute with z index to 10 and then font size 12 pixels. We target the scroll. We align it with top right. We give it font weight. We target the social as well. We give it top and left, font size, and then we target the anchor tags. We give them color, text decoration to none, and then margin inline, basically left and right to 10 pixels. Let's save. And here we're done with the HTML. So we're done with our HTML. Let's move to the JavaScript and let's add the start of the show, which is GSAP. Now, this is not an in-depth GSAP video, so I'm hoping that at least you would know a little bit about GSAP. Now, even if you don't know, you don't need to stretch too much what is going on. So basically, I've just linked the GSAP file. I can't even talk. So we're targeting the GSAP. So to make it work, basically, whenever the page transitions or whenever the slide changes, we basically fire off a function here. So whenever the slide changes and the transition starts, we fire off a function. In this function, we add the different animation. So to use GSAP, we just use this GSAP dot, and then we have this from or to. Now, whenever we are animating, the animation has basically two states. It has the initial state and then the final state. So the final state of the design would be what we have specified in our CSS file. And then the initial value or the initial position of the elements would be what we specify here inside of the GSAP from. So when we play it, it would move from this GSAP from, and then it would move to the CSS version of the position or the placements of the elements. And it would kind of look like the animation or the elements are animating. Shit, I can't talk. So we target the GSAP from, and then here we add the element. In this case, we're targeting the active slides h2. Now you might say, hey, we don't have any such class. We have swiper slide, but we don't have any active class. So if let me just inspect and I'll show you one cool stuff. So this swiper library automatically adds a bunch of classes and other stuff to the swiper slide. So in our HTML, we just specify swiper slide, but when we initialize it, the JavaScript behind the scenes adds a lot of stuff from its side. So whichever slide is active would have this, as you can see here, since the third one is active, you would have this class swiper slide active. So we basically target this and then the h2 inside of that, and we set its x value, which is translate x value to -200, opacity 0, duration of 1 seconds, delay of 0.5. Now what this means is the initial position of the h2 for the active slide would be -200, somewhere out of the screen. The opacity would be 0, basically the element won't be visible. And then the duration here means that when we're animating it from this specific position to the CSS version, we want it to take 1 second of time and smooth the animation. And then the delay 0.5 means that start the animation after 0.5 seconds. Let's save. If I just scroll, after 0.5 seconds, the heading kind of fades in. So similar to this, we can now target the info p tag, info span tag, and then we can set them move from Y10, opacity 0, delay of 0.5, and then the stagger property. Now the stagger is basically means that we have here 2 elements specified. So we don't want both the elements to start all together, but what we want is when the first element ends, right after that, after 0.1 seconds, the next element should start. So if we had multiple such elements, so this 0.1 second would kind of be stacking, so that we have the animation kind of going from first element, then waits, then the second one, then again waits, then third one, and then so on and so forth. As you can see, if I save it, you see, first the first p tag and the span appear, and then the second ones appear. We then use the GSAP for the pricing. The right side, we do the same stuff. We just copy and paste it. Let's save. Okay, same stuff is happening for the pricing here. Now the next thing that we need to do is we target the main image. So basically we want the image to kind of fade in from beneath. So we have the Y 50, opacity 0, duration 1, and delay of 1 second. All right, looks good. Now we target the thumbnail because we want these as well to kind of fade in. We add Y, opacity 0, and then the delay. Let's save. Let's scroll. Cool, this looks really great. So we're almost done. Now the only problem you would see is when we load the page, we don't see any animation, while the finished version, if we reload, it has a animation. So the way you can do it is, since the animation is kind of same as the transition change animation, so you can just copy it from here and then you can just paste in again here. Now the only change that I did is when the page animates initially, or basically when the page loads, I've changed this Y to 100 instead of 50. So basically when the page loads, we want to kind of show that the image comes in from so basically the image has more depth compared to the scroll animation. And yeah, that's it. Let's reload. Scroll, you can use these as well. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, hope you guys liked the video. Hopefully you learned some new stuff. If this video was helpful, if you learned something, please make sure to like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and if you haven't turned the notification bell, make sure to turn that on because you would never want to miss any of our updates. And yeah, that's it for this video. Meet you guys in the next. Till then, bye bye. And before going bye, so make sure to comment down what you liked about this video, because the more you comment, it kind of increases the engagement and pushes my video to wider range, which in turn helps my channel grow. So would be really grateful if you guys could comment down what you liked about this video. And yeah, that's it. Till then, Bye bye. Meet you guys in the next video.